learned in Holland, we are colorblind. We don't know what is yellow or what is black or what is white. We always educated that people are equal. And so we could never imagine that anything like the Holocaust would happen in Holland.
I heard about your story and we're here to listen a little bit more. So today what we're going to do, we're actually going to travel in a game map and you will be able to explain us about what we're going to see and is it resemble that what you've been through, okay?
Okay. My name is Abraham Roט. I was born in Holland in 1928. I came from an Orthodox liberal family. We were together 6 children, 2 sisters and 4 boys. I must say that we had a very good life till the war began, till 1940.
When was it when you felt like, okay, this is really happening, my life is on threat right now, and I don't know how can I make it through?
The first thing you feel, you are being put into a situation where you felt that you are hunted. You are a hunted man. The Germans started to persecute, first of all, the Jews. First, we couldn't go to school, then we couldn't go to shops, we couldn't go with the tramway, we couldn't go on bicycles. And you see here is written Central Station. And so they didn't travel with the tram. We had no transport. We had to go everything
walking.
Yes. One of the first days of the war with Germany, they bombed out Holland. It took us by complete surprise, which was never expected that they would bomb out civilians. Here you see a typical thing. They made this sandbags, because at that time people thought that the sandbags would save them from the Germans. On the 15th of May in 1940, when the Germans declared their victory, I had a classmate of mine, a very good friend of mine, and his parents. So this family, the father, mother, and 3 children, they took their own life. I was only at that time 12 years old. We knew that it's not going right, it's going wrong. And this was a constant feeling during the whole war. The Jewish community started school for Jewish children. I myself studied in a parallel class with Anna Frank, but in this school it was very strange because you would go to school, you would never know what teacher would be in the next day or what child would disappear, and you didn't know if they went into hiding, if they were sent to concentration camp. And when I see a class picture today, I see about more than half of them which never returned. Teachers who never came back, nothing. In the beginning of the war in 1941, my grandfather had a big house opposite the ghetto. Because it was opposite the ghetto, the Germans never came to us. In 1943, they forced us to go to a ghetto. In that ghetto, they started to provoke Jews who lived in the ghetto, and there were some special group of Jews who did not accept it and started fights in the ghetto. And that gave a good reason for the Germans to make the first transport to Dachau. And most of them were killed almost immediately after they arrived in Dachau. There was a big house of orphans. The Dutch police came, they didn't let anybody come near. They bought in trucks, and the 170 children were sent again by trucks to straight to Auschwitz. And also none of them came back. At a certain night, in September on the Jewish New Year, came the Germans and they took at night my grandfather and two sisters. All of them were killed in Auschwitz. The strange thing is that we never believed that he would be exterminated. Maybe we were naive, or my parents were naive, the Jewish people were naive. They never understood what was going to happen to them. They came also to our home, but my mother told them that I had cholera or something like that. The Germans were deadly afraid of sicknesses, so they just decided to leave us alone at that night. My father had connections with the Dutch underground, and then the Dutch underground brought us to various addresses, each of my brothers on a separate address, where we were hidden during the war. I, for myself, went up with a farmer in a small village in south of Holland, and in that place there was a Catholic priest, and he told some farmers in the neighborhood, "You have to take a Jewish guy, and you have to hide him." And for that reason, in the same place were about 200 Jewish children who were saved. If you see here, they burned the windmolen. When I was hidden with a farm in the south of Holland, about the same time, about 13 farms around the farm where I was, they were burned down.
Do you remember moments when you were hearing fightings on the streets, fire?
The only thing I remember very well, if we talk about war action, that was the fight around the Battle of Arnhem. The Battle of Arnhem was one of the greatest battles in the Second World War, because they believed that if they could take the bridge of Arnhem, then they could invade Germany, and it would be the end of the war.
You saw the parachutes?
Yeah, I mean, they came where I lived, they came all around me.
You remember?
Yeah, I remember personally very well.
Yes,
and also, I remember very well how the American parachutists came down. The Germans shot at them.
Oh my God.
And there were many of these parachutists were killed, and they were not able to get the bridge, and they lost. We never talked at home about the Holocaust. The reason is that all of us who survived the war, we have a trauma. We have a trauma of the war. And we didn't want our children who live in Israel, in a free country,
Relive it.
and they didn't want them to become a part of our trauma. So this is one of the things I regret most.
When you think about it, this is insane that it actually happened in less than 100 years ago. Now everybody more aware about race or religion, but back then...
You see this picture, this beautiful picture, and then you see life goes on.
Yeah. The
sun is shining, the water is flowing, the boat is in the water. You would never believe that in these kind of places could be any war. The reason that I come here and the reason that I tell the story is that we want the people, the world also, to remember and not to forget and not to forgive. Yeah. And it's my task, as long as I live, to tell the people what happened so it won't happen again.
I feel very related, not only as a Jew, but my grandfather actually came from Austria, ran away from the Nazis with all of his family here to Israel. He was the lucky one. And I remember as a kid, I was looking for his passport just to see the stamp of the Nazis, just to see that this is real. Because when I was a kid, we was born and raised to never forget. So we really need to deliver this message to the youngsters, to the teens who haven't experienced this kind of stories from their own family. So this is why we're trying to deliver this message and to bring it up to the spotlight again, especially in those social media platforms. And you know what's funny? Most of us are playing games such as Call of Duty, Battlefield, stuff like that. And when they see the cities all burning down, all down to ashes, and they don't understand that this is actually happened. This is actually a real views that people actually saw in their daily basis for 5, 6 years. They felt haunted. This is our legacy, and we should never, ever forget. And we need to deliver this message to the next generations to come.